A few months ago.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I think we're ready. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see what the date and time. February 2nd.
Anybody need an agenda?
I have one on my phone.
Yeah, if you have one. Forgot to
I
put
had
it
them,
on.
I just lost them.
We're good?
Still on agenda?
No, I didn't have one.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the February 2nd meeting of the Litchfield Conservation Commission. I call this meeting to order at 6:37 PM. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Plansky, can you please take us through the roll call?
Mr. Croto,
Here.
Ms. McGivern,
Present.
Mr. French,
Here.
Mr. Brennan,
Here.
Ms. Plansky is here, Mr. Mazigian,
Here.
Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Present and accounted for, sir.
Thank you. First item on the agenda, public input related to non-agenda items. Would anybody in the public like to speak? Hearing none, we will close public input. New business, fishing derby. So I'll just, before I hand it over to you, just a quick update for the folks out there. We have in our budget some funds for the fishing derby for 2023. We share that cost with the Litchfield Recreation Commission. The Litchfield Recreation Commission, the funds for the fishing derby unfortunately got cut out of the Recreation Commission's budget. So at this point in time, we only have quote-unquote half of a budget for the fishing derby. So at the last meeting, I asked Harry to see what we could do, if anything, with those funds.
Okay, what I did is, I made some phone calls and whatever. I've got last year's and I've got this year's, so obviously the fish have gone up in price by 50 cents, okay? And the delivery fee has gone up, and just about everything else has gone up in price. So what I sketched together for 2023 is that we order approximately, the minimum you can order for fish is 100. And that comes to about $425. Okay, delivery fee, I was able to negotiate it with them last year. This year, it's non-negotiable, and that's $50. Okay, ID tags, I paid $15 last year for the, and I figured they are gone up at least for like $5. Advertising, we paid about $74 for advertising, and what that included was the big posters that were created, okay? And let's see what else.
Doesn't matter. We can call it advertising.
It was general advertising, and the reason I put 74 is for the big posters and the additional posters that we're gonna put in the schools this year, okay? So we'll have more, if you wanna call poster signs, than we had last year. Now, I was able to talk to the wildlife taxidermy, and we were talking because I had went out and priced bait, and it ranged from anywhere from $3.50 to $4 a carton. So I talked to the taxidermy guy, and he said, "Oh, I bring my kids over to fish at Nesson Brook. Oh, I can give you a discount." So we dropped it down to about $3 a carton. And I roughly figured we had roughly approximately 25 cartons last year, I think. It was above 20, okay?
We donated last year.
I understand that. So I figure maybe only about 18 cartons, which would end up being roughly about $60. That comes to a total of $640.50, which leaves us $59.50 for quote-unquote prizes. The Manzigi Corporation, because of its generosity, is going to supply 2 of the prizes,
Okay.
all right? And some of the steps that I had talked to Jeff Town about this too. We normally would have awarded 12 prizes. We need to reduce it down to 7, okay? Because of cost. So as far as cost goes, with the $59, we could probably come up with enough to cover the 4 or 5 prices. They wouldn't be anything as spectacular as last year. But also I talked to Jeff Town, and he agrees that we concentrated on fishing rods last year, and we both agree that 90% of the people that show up already have their own fishing rods. So things like tackle boxes, plastic container boxes for lures and odds and ends and stuff like that would be more valuable. And as Jason mentioned, the kids they'd be thrilled to get something.
Yeah.
Okay? So, based on that, just to make everybody aware, if we buy 100 and the state will supply 100,
How many did we get last year?
158
So 300 plus total last year.
last year,
And with budget cuts, we'll be down to 200 fish. That's what it sounds like.
yeah. Now,
How many did they catch last year?
about 74. And that was 54 registered participants last year. So,
So Harry, the big question is with not having the funds that we had last year, and obviously you doing the homework, and we're gonna have to pinch pennies here and there, is this doable as a scaled back version of the normal fishing derby with the funds that we have? Is it doable?
yes.
What date do you have for that?
Now,
Tomorrow,
pardon,
tomorrow's the date for fishing derby, right?
tomorrow? I don't think so.
Fishing?
Now,
Hey, a little bit
the
icy.
only other fly in the ointment that I need to bring up, as far as the money goes, it looks like we can, juggle things around and satisfy that portion of it. The town services, the police, the highway department, and the EMTs. I was gonna go talk to the town manager and see if that, and approach her, I guess it's a her now,
Yes.
from what I
Kim.
My
understand.
name is Kim.
Approach her and saying, okay, we've approved the fishing derby, so we're all set in the town services?
That's
not-
probably not what I
Pardon?
would say. I would say, could I please have town services for that day?
Well, I'm gonna assume that it's available. I'm not gonna go in and say, do you think it's available?
I'm pretty sure it's be taken care of.
Pardon?
I'm pretty sure it'll be taken care of.
Okay.
What date is it that you're looking at?
May 6th.
I want ice.
So,
Go
So
tomorrow.
how many fish did you have last year, Harry?
300,
let's see, we had
16.
158 plus times 2,
And you can only do
16.
200 this year?
and only 200 this year.
And there was only
75.
75 caught. So we should.
Yeah.
How much, if you wanted to get 316, how much more would you need?
Wow.
Well, it's 50 cents a fish, is that what you said?
No, it's,
Say?
for the small fish, it's $4.25, so times 300 would be,
times 100.
425.
420.
He was saying how much to get
How
up
much,
to.
how much would he need to do?
$3.25 a fish,
No, 425.
425.
$4.25 a fish.
That's an expensive fish. I could go out to get fish at that point.
You can go out and get something to eat for that.
$425.
Okay.
That's
I
how
should have
much
known that
100
off the
is,
top of my
right?
head,
Four
right?
twenty-five.
How would you like it if the New Hampshire State Council of Trout Unlimited donated $425? You can get the other fish, the 300.
You would love it.
You would love that.
We would love it.
I think I can arrange that since I'm the chair of that organization.
Okay.
So we have the
Do we need
Manzigian
to write a
Corporation
letter
donating.
asking for it?
Yeah, I
We'll
will-
write a letter? Okay,
Okay, so.
I'll get with
Nobody
you
else
on
see
that.
this
Yeah.
show tonight.
So, let's see, I just wrote down some notes here.
No one else can watch the meeting tonight.
The things that, the same types of situations that will occur. We need to get hold of Wilson again and ask permission to use their empty lot. Diane, you said it was okay to use the
The garden.
center. See, I wrote down assuming the town services would be available.
So I think what we can take care of this meeting, Harry, is it sounds like, because we're gonna, I'm assuming next, we have two meetings. We have the March meeting and the April meeting, and actually the May, but that's gonna be kinda too late to
Right.
make any course correction changes. But I think the good thing to complete during this meeting is, I think we all agree that we're good to go forward with this at a scaled back
Okay,
thing. And then if you could talk to the town manager or town administrator and just make sure that we've got
yes,
police and fire, we don't have to pay for that, you know, that we don't have to pay for that, then I say we go ahead, and then in the
Yeah.
next meeting, we get into more planning on it.
Yeah, I'll see if I can do some legwork on some donations as well,
okay,
so that we can maybe not have to do pay for the bait or the
now,
prizes.
just so everybody understands, in my research, Mark's Bait is the wholesaler in the area. They do not sell retail anymore,
They don't.
okay? So,
Doesn't Litchfield Food Mart have bait though? I think they do.
okay, actually, the two most important things I need to know is it okay to submit the permit for the fishing derby? So we should probably have, because of the new town administrator.
Yep.
Probably should have a vote on it. And number two, to order the fish.
Okay. So is everybody
Well,
in agreement
Mike,
that,
We're gonna
just
make a
as-
motion.
Just as a question.
Mhm.
Now, you want to order 100?
You're right. So you said you can only afford 200.
No, we can only afford 100.
The state-
Oh, and for-
State will
matches
match.
it.
Oh,
The
and the
state
state is
will match.
matching, right,
Yes.
okay. So that other, I guess, 100,
50?
50,
You can do
It'll only be
50.
50 because the state will match
100.
the 50.
So then it would
Okay.
be 300.
Hold on, back up a second.
What-
You're,
Go ahead.
hold on, just bear with me, Harry. You said you've got enough funds in there for 200 fish total. We're gonna buy 100?
No,
And the state's gonna buy us
I
100?
don't have, clearly, I have a budget for only 100.
Right.
But the state is
State
gonna
will
give us
match.
100.
We'll match 100,
So I'm saying we're getting 200 fish.
yes.
Buy one, get one free. To get up to the 300 that we had last year, we need another 100 fish. If we buy 50 fish, the state will also donate 50 fish.
But if we get 100 donated, then we can knock our costs down.
Correct.
So if we get 100, I think we're gonna still ask for 100 donation,
Okay.
100 fish donation. And then that cuts this in half, and then we have money to do other
Okay.
things.
So, just so I get it clear, because I need to call the guy this week or next week, order
150.
150. Okay?
Right.
So that'll give us 300 fish
Math is
with
hard.
150 from,
right, because that, you're gonna be matched.
yeah,
Correct.
from,
The numbers game.
All right,
Hey, I'd like to make a motion
Yes, let's
we-
take care of this. Let's nip it in the bud right now.
that we hold the fishing derby on May 6th. And that we fund it from the money that we have and pared down as we need to be. And that we ask for a donation from, what is it called?
All right, I think there's too much there.
Okay.
Let's peel it
But I
off.
just approve the fishing derby?
I second
Well,
that.
actually, three things. Approving the fishing derby, buying the fish, and submitting the permit.
Okay.
Those three things I need.
Do you are you good to make a motion on all three of those things? Or Diane, you good to make a motion on all three?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we fund the May 6th fishing derby as the Conservation Commission, that we buy 150 fish, and that we get our permits. What's the last thing?
Submit the permits.
Submit the permits. And that's it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I make
I'll
that motion.
second
I
it.
make that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I would like to put just a stipulation on there, maybe to just put it an upper limit cost for the fishing derby, just to make sure it just doesn't get out of control. So I would amend that motion to say expend up to $700 from the Conservation Commission operating budget,
Okay,
added on top of that.
Okay,
That's on?
yep.
Okay, so got that motion with added on the end of it, up to $700 to be expended from the Conservation Commission operating budget.
yeah, because the bait can be bought in,
Yeah,
Like,
all right,
yeah.
so,
Go ahead.
okay.
Are
so-
you good with that amendment to it?
Yes, do we have a
Okay.
second?
second.
So we have wait a second, we're all messed up. Help me out, Joan.
Vote on the amendment first.
Excuse me?
Vote on the amendment.
All right, so we got an amendment to the motion, amendment to the motion by Jason, seconded by Fred. All those in favor, say aye.
Wait, Fred's an
Oh,
alternate
shoot.
right now. He hasn't been voted in as a.
This has been folks, if you're watching this on
can you
TV,
second this
erase
motion?
everything.
I'll take Fred's place.
Yeah,
All right, Kevin's gonna.
Kevin.
all right,
I'm gonna
Kevin's
pull
seconding.
all motions off the table.
What, you're starting over?
Yep, hold on a second.
You're making this more difficult.
Fred,
No, we're doing it
do you
right.
want to be a voting member for tonight to take the place of Matthew?
Yes.
All right, so now Fred is appointed as a voting member.
Thank you.
That works.
Thank you for the point of order, Diane.
Okay, so
I'm gonna make an amendment to the motion that was previously on the floor to amend the motion to say for $700 out of the Conservation Commission operating budget. I make that motion.
I second it.
Fred seconds the motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 24700. Back to the original motion. Any further discussion on the original motion?
Which was,
Which was the three things that you talked about before.
Buying the fish, buying the permits, and having the fishing derby.
okay,
Are we good on the original motion?
yeah.
All right, let's vote on that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstained, motion carries 700. We're good with the fishing derby.
Okay.
You're good with those three things, upper limit of $700.
Now, as far as the permit, no one objects to me filling out the permit and signing it?
No, go ahead.
You are the project manager of the fishing derby project. You are
Okay, well,
fully
I
in
just
control.
Yeah, just want to ask.
Give us a report every month.
Okay,
Just make sure you file with the Secretary of State, your corporation, so. Keep it real.
All right. Are we good on that for now, Harry, for this?
yeah, I'm all set.
Excellent, all right. Second item on the agenda, grant opportunities. It's becoming that time of year again, and there are grant opportunities for land purchase. As you remember, last year, we tried to put in a grant opportunity for the purchase of a piece of property, but it wasn't the right grant based on what the state said to us. The state came back to me and gave me a list of grants that could be potentially used to support a purchase of conservation land at the next L-chip is one of them. At the next meeting, I'm gonna come in with the dates that those grant applications are due, and then we can decide from there if we go for funding or not. That's all I have on that one.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Just one question. Now, again, listening to the news and whatever, I guess the state appears, and I say appears, to be pushing for low-cost housing on whatever they can find it. And my concern is Litchfield would be primed for that because of all our open space. So it's just something that,
But they didn't say that they were looking for,
pardon?
they are looking at that, but like in Manchester and Nashua, they didn't say that they're looking at open space.
Well, I'm not saying they're looking at Litchfield. I mean, that was only my concern, if you want to say it. I just don't want us to let something slip through our fingers to turn into low-cost housing.
Workforce.
Okay,
Work-
enough said on
workforce
that issue.
housing.
2023 goals, I put this on the agenda, so just for next meeting, we're not gonna discuss this now, if the folks on the commission would give it some thought over the next month of just a couple things that we wanna do during the year beside the fishing derby. Like some community outreach types of things, like a winter hike, like a bird watching seminar. I've also always wanted to have someone come in and do a nature photography class or something like that. So if anybody's got ideas, just, we don't have to discuss them now, we'll just put it on the
Diana,
agenda.
we're just talking about Fish and Game coming in, right? That would be one,
Yeah, I'll
Good
bring
thing.
that up in,
April.
old business or in, member.
Input?
Yeah, I'll bring it up in that.
So think about that over the next month, because it'd be nice just to do a couple of things.
Do you want
Excuse me?
emails from ideas from people?
Yeah, if you want to send out an email.
I will, and then
Just,
everybody can,
the only thing is we can't communicate back and forth with each other in those emails.
right,
But people can send their ideas to you and then we can discuss them during the meeting.
yeah, and then I'll put it all together and send it
Even if
to-
we could just do we have the fishing derby, if we could just do 2 other things.
I go back to the bird walk in May that got canceled last year. So
Yeah.
I'm interested in doing that.
That'd be awesome.
How often do you see a blue heron standing in a brook this time of year?
Not very often.
I had one yesterday.
really?
Where? Down-
McQuestion Farms, the ducks came in and so did the heron.
Wow.
Now, tomorrow, they're gonna freeze his legs off. But
All right, old business, there's none.
Well, yes, I have something.
Oh.
Would Dara Pond come under old business?
The
Yeah.
Miller?
The milfoil. So I called the guy today and, from, Water and Wetland Company. They still don't have their permit. I guess it's quite involved. They have to go, talk to the state and take written exams, and they're still working on it. But he said we may want to do a vegetation survey, which would be $1,500 to $1,700, because we haven't done that since May, 2014 we treated it, but 2006 was the last survey. So we may want to do that. We unfortunately have to take the money out of the land conservation because we don't have money anyplace else. Unless,
When do these guys think that they're gonna get their license? Like, I wouldn't
By
wanna do a
next-
survey unless they had their license and you could take it to the next step.
not till 2024 probably,
what?
because it's so involved to,
The state's making it so difficult.
and Amy at the state knows that people are, begging her to get this guy on board because there's other towns, he even mentioned us, and she's familiar with it, that it's gotten to be quite a problem down there, the milfoil. Even though it's native.
Can't really fish there.
Yeah, so for the folks on TV and for you, Fred, so we have a milfoil problem in Dara Pond and Jones.
Native milfoil.
Native milfoil in Dara Pond, and There was a proposal on the table a few years ago to treat it, and it just never,
Well, we did treat it in 2014.
Okay.
Part of the pond.
and so we're just looking to try to treat it.
There's a new treatment that's out there that's supposed to be
Right.
really effective.
Right.
Why don't we just keep that one on the agenda and just see where it goes?
Okay.
Yep.
If everybody, unless,
I don't think it's worth it to treat it with anything else, so we're gonna have to wait
No,
for it.
we can't treat it, the other people that I can't get a hold of, and like you say, that's new stuff they have is very effective. But these guys have to be licensed in New Hampshire.
okay. Well, thanks for staying on top of that, because that's something we have to get done or we have to make a decision on at least at some point in time.
I'll check with them again later in the spring and see how it's going.
Are there any other companies you said you'd,
There's a Solitude company that keeps sending out emails on different things to do, but I've tried to reach out to, they've gotten to be quite a big corporation, and you don't get anybody local to talk to, so.
But they all have to be locally licensed.
They have to be licensed in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah. So without, because my cousin would come down and do it, but he can't do it because he's not licensed in New Hampshire.
Right. Quite involved to get the license, I guess.
Yeah, then that's what he said to me.
I'll do some research on that. Just different companies if I have,
If somebody's
Solitude-
already
Down at
licensed.
night.
Solitude Lake is the other one, and these guys are water and wetland.com.
okay.
And they were the ones that treated it last time. They were out of a different company. They were actually with Solitude. But then they broke off.
All right. Might be worth contacting them and, old business, other business, any, let's see, old business, yeah, other business property checks and property maintenance.
I have one on Morris Falls. I guess it would come under this. It's the annual meeting at the annual fish and game, not fish and game, who does this? Conservation Land Stewardship does the Morris Falls, because they have, Fish and Game has that easement on top of the property. And they said, they want to know if anything changes, and we haven't done anything. But they did say on inspection, parking and kiosk area immaculate and well cared for. They walk the loop trail, regular trail use, no ATV use noted, fat tire bike tracks, lots of invasives. So that was this year's report.
You say invasions?
Invasive species, like,
Oh, yeah, well, they're all over the place.
well, besides bittersweet, I think there's garlic mustard down there and all kinds of stuff.
Bittersweet is killing everything.
So Joan, who did that?
Conservation Land Stewardship, it's part of Fish and Game,
They did it last year. They do it
yeah,
every
they do
year?
it every year.
Yeah.
They did it this fall?
They did it on January 19th. And I didn't know our new printer does color printing.
Ooh, on both sides.
Yeah. That's cool. Anything else? Anybody else? I have a few, but,
No,
I did go down to, I went on a bender last weekend, and I basically, not that type of bender, people. I went on a bender this weekend and kind of hit a lot of the different properties. And I did go down to Moores Falls, and during either the snowstorm or the windstorm, quite a few trees came down, and several of them are over the path, so,
Yeah, the trolley car path and everything else.
yep. So if it gets warm out, we might have to get a few folks down there with the chainsaws and just clean that up a bit. But other than that, it looked pretty good, well used. The only thing that I thought is that when you go in there, with the snow on the ground, you kind of lose what the trail is, and you can see people like walking through the woods. So maybe at some point in time, we can put some things up on the trees or something like that, just to know that folks are going in the right direction. But other than that, that looked good. I went to the river access. Tree is down there too, so I'm gonna talk with the Recreation Commission. Came across the trail going down there. But other than that, that looked really good. And then I went into the muster field, that looked good as well, so
Just
everything
cut it,
seems to
we'll
be,
push it.
yeah. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape. Anything else on property checks?
Yeah, I'm gonna be walking down to Parker Park and check that out.
Be careful.
There's a lot down
Do you
there.
have spikes?
Clamp-ons,
Yes.
clamp-ons.
You do? Yeah,
It won't
because,
be cold after tomorrow.
Slippery though,
yeah, it's
Really
slippery.
slippery.
narrow.
I'm using clamp-ons.
Yeah, I'm kinda hoping that the trees didn't,
There's some stuff down there that you can see from the road, so I imagine it's good when you go.
I went
through.
down a little while ago, and it wasn't too bad at Park Park.
Snow on the ground, is there, in there?
Yeah,
I got a lot of pine
Yeah,
trees you
from
still
the
got
road.
going on.
the road, it looked good, but,
just that one narrow spot in the beginning, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
'cause
You
it's-
gotta be, and if you go off,
You're
that
going in the water.
brook is running, it's gonna be cold.
Yeah.
All right, member input. Go around the room. Mr. Croto, do you have anything?
I do not.
Ms. McGibbon, any other input?
Nope.
Mr. French?
I had gone to the meeting on the house down at Wilson with the Historic Society last week. And was a little disappointed in the results, but it was a good meeting. And I'm not sure what's gonna come out of it. It doesn't look favorable.
Yeah.
That was a public hearing, wasn't it?
Yes,
The Heritage Committee,
Was it here?
it was here.
they walked it. They walked the house. There's nothing to salvage in it.
Yeah, there's,
Unless we salvage things like the fireplace and floorboards, the building itself.
so it looks like it's gonna be torn down, right?
It's pretty rough shape on the inside. It hasn't been not fixed in years.
Um,
It uses the rental.
Marion and Steve went and walked it.
Yeah.
Last week. We had a presentation, are you,
Are you?
Yeah, I'm
is
done.
that it?
Thank you.
Do you?
I'll go last. Go ahead, Diane.
Ben Stinson, the Adult and Teen Services Librarian, made a presentation last month regarding the book The Bear, and wanted us to participate with him in a program between the library and conservation to get that book out there and what could we do for him. And at that time, Harry handed me a thing from Fish and Game. I called Fish and Game. They were able to come down and do what was similar to what we saw when we did the presentation in the library for the bear last year. So that could be part of that. So it's nice to have an outreach program with the library. Dan Mitchell also reached out to me, and I hope to get with him to do something with the garden and Ben. Dan Mitchell with the elementary school and the high school at some point. I met with Kim tonight right before the meeting, and she has contacted the attorney for agrarian. Jason did a lot of backpedaling on information and kind of consolidated it and got it to Kim. And Kim has reached out and talked to their attorney. The sticking point was they wanted a paragraph in there that we would be responsible for chemical dumping that occurred on that land. And our town attorney didn't want that paragraph to be in there. And then when Kim went back to him and said, we don't want to do that, and then Troy left. We've just had so many people, Agarian lost all their staff, and then COVID problems with attendance. But when Kim finally got back to the attorney's like, no, we won't. We will not budge on that.
Their attorney?
Their attorney said they wouldn't budge on it, and our attorney's not gonna budge on it. But what neither one of those attorneys knew is that we were going to do, training for people that are coming into it with a membership agreement that they would have to sign about not using chemicals and things like that. And we were gonna have Steve Normanton teach it on how to do organic gardening. So what Kim's now gonna go back to them with is that we will have each individual who's going to be farming that land sign an agreement that they know they can't put toxic waste or non-organic chemicals in that in that garden. So that's what we're hoping to replace
And
the
then Kim said
paragraph.
something about a sign too, having a sign at the property.
That this is an organic farm, no hazardous chemicals, such as Roundup, such as.
But does their lawyer still adamant about having that paragraph in it that the town is liable, because that's gonna be a no-go.
So that's what Kim is gonna work on with them, is that we're gonna, to protect, what we're going to have them substitute that the town is responsible and liable for that, is that we will teach each person that has an opportunity to farm there, what chemicals are appropriate and what are not, and they'll each have to sign something.
No chemicals would be appropriate, because it lives their organic certification.
Right, well, there's some organic
Yeah.
mixtures that are
Yeah.
not chemicals, but organic mixtures that will be usable on that land. But that will have to be hand in hand with Steve before we actually put farmers on that land. But that's something we had intended to do to start with. In fact, when I went to the Algerian celebration that they took over Monadnock Land Trust, we talked all about that they were gonna put something together, but this attorney has been back in and out of it and apparently didn't remember it. So the lease says nothing about it being organic. And then we get down to this like nasty footprint. If there's any chemicals or hazardous waste on this property, but I don't understand how they could enforce that, because at this point, if anybody else dumped on the land, I mean, it's,
Well, because nobody else would be on the land though, but the big thing is
anybody
that
could be on the land when we own it, or when we lease it, or when they lease it, or when they have
She's
it.
saying someone could come in
Just
legally
walk in.
dump.
Yeah, there's not, it's not all a big high stockade fence that, you need a password and a lock to get into.
But the
It's
big
wide
thing is
open
that
farmland.
the town shouldn't be liable for anything. That, I don't know if their lawyer's gonna go for that.
Nothing more than any other town property that we use for recreation.
Well, we're
That's
making
the thing.
progress, that's the good.
We've made some real big progress, and we really have Kim on our side here, and I was able to kind of give her the big picture that I did when we had people come down to the garden, about the Florence Center Garden, about the,
Well, the interesting thing is that we have an easement on that piece
I
of
said
property.
that to her too.
That says that we can use it for farming, for
On
agriculture.
that square,
On that piece
that
of
piece?
property, yes.
Yes.
I thought the easement was
I
only
wanna see
further
the
down.
whole
Nope,
agreement.
I have it.
You have the whole agreement?
Yep.
I wanna see it,
Send that.
and
to
make
Kim.
sure that everything that's being
Okay.
done, the
No.
same way we would.
I sent everything to Kim. I sent the easements, she sent the agreement
Thank you.
back to me. The easement does state that it can be used for agriculture. It does state it can be used for foot trails and bridges. And the whole thought of this was to have this extra layer of protection for everybody, because that easement was written over 40 years ago.
You
I'll
sure it's
s-
that top piece?
Yes. Yeah, I'll send it to you, and
Alright,
if
send it, yeah.
if you think it's not that top piece, let me know.
Bill McKellen sold that land
Right.
to them, and he left it open to do things there.
Well, there was an
He wanted the
easement-
town to be
there
able to
was-
use
One
it
at a
without
time,
building.
folks.
For a house.
Yeah,
Got it.
he wanted the town to be able to use it.
The different group you're dealing with right now.
Yeah, Joan, if you look at the map and,
Yeah, I looked at
Not
the map
proving
today with
good
This-
to work with, so I
do
think we
not-
might have to have other trust companies come into
it's,
town.
that's orange piece.
That would be their fault.
I'll make sure that the information that we did the research on is up on the portal, and then we'll send everybody the link, and if folks are interested, they can check it out. But I would be interested, Joan, in if you see it differently than what I do.
Okay.
The way that I read the lease is that if you look at the map up here, and let me just turn on the aerial behind the scenes, sorry, Kevin.
All right, my next one.
If you look at the map right here, that easement is on that piece, the way I read it, is on this entire piece that you see right there.
Exactly.
And let me just turn on, make
Oh,
it,
wait, the piece where the green part is, up by the road, is,
let me
Yep.
hit the yellow, and let's turn off this, on this yellow piece right there.
That looks good upside down to me.
And I'm gonna highlight it, just for the fun of it. That one right there.
That's
It
it.
appears that that easement covers that entire piece.
That's right.
It's underwater.
yeah, send it off.
That's the whole chunk that Bill owned.
There was an easement for a house further down on the lot, and then, because, okay, that little piece below to the south is the town-owned property.
Yep, that one right there.
Yeah. I don't know, I'd be interested in see what the.
I went to
verbiage
the
says.
Registry of Deeds a couple nights ago, and I screenshotted the entire covenant, and I'll just send that out.
Okay.
And if anybody has a different opinion on it,
No.
that would be good to hear, but that's the way that I read it.
Used to explain the logic to the people involved on both sides.
Yep. But it's in there. You read the writing. It's in there. Bridges, agriculture. Okay, thank you, Diane. Harry, do you have anything?
Well, other than, like I say, some work, maybe work with Diane and work with Fish and Game to bring some classes or some sort of seminar
Yep.
down here. Let's Go Fishing is a very popular thing that the state's been doing for a long time.
Got a river.
What, yeah, and what is nice about that is the town doesn't really, all the town has to do is approve it. The state takes care of everything, rods, baits, the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
They're a pond, does it have any fish in it at all?
It has fish in it, but it has a lot of weeds too.
But
Okay,
you can't fish it now, really.
We-
No,
I
they're
try to
pulling
take
out.
my
well,
pants on there
it
and
doesn't make any difference what type of
fish in
fish,
there, though.
as long as there's
Yeah, the
stuff in there
sunfish.
that the kids
But
can
but the
catch.
weeds are right up to the shore,
Yeah.
right? The weeds, you can't get
Shiners.
beyond the weeds.
Throw your bait out and you come in with it.
Little bass.
Okay, anyway, so I'll,
So we'll do that for next meeting. We'll just try to get a few of those nailed down and we'll go for it. You good? Anything else, Harry?
no, that's it.
Mr. Lynch, anything?
No, sir.
I was gonna talk about the garden, but you covered it, so we're good
I
there.
had a question for Diane.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll happen this year, for this
It-
season?
I always think it's gonna happen.
The chance of that happening this year?
There's a good chance of it happening,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
I
gonna
mean-
need a ton of help. But Jay just kind of put it back.
We're in bulldog mode.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
you can't be passive with these things,
Right.
because everybody's busy, and if no one speaks up, so
Year's a
we're gonna
long
just
time.
try to hammer it until we either
need help.
are
I'm
said
gonna need
no, or there's approval.
Well,
But
it's in their lawyer's hands now. They
Yeah.
gotta get their lawyer to agree.
it's just been a tennis match back and forth.
I see.
Troy left, and perfect storm of all kinds of
Yep.
stuff. Cool. Anybody got anything else on member input? Hearing none, approval of the meeting minutes for January 5th. I read the minutes, I gave Matt a few comments, and anybody got anything? Any comments on them?
They're perfect.
I'll entertain a motion
I'll make a
to,
motion that we approve the January
Fifth.
5th minutes of the meeting
Okay.
with the corrections that you've offered.
We have a motion by Harry,
Second.
we have a second by Diane. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed,
I
all
will
those,
abstain.
I abstain.
all those abstain,
Abstain.
motion carries 502. Public input. I'll open it up to public input one last time at
Okay, come on in.
7:20 PM.
Nice.
Seeing nobody in the audience has anything to say, I will close public input at 7:20 PM. I think that's pretty much all we have. We do have one item that we have to go over in non-public, so we're gonna go into non-public after this, but, anybody else have anything? I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public.
Make a motion, we go into non-public per
RSA,
91-A
D. A3D.
point
:3,
:3
D.
D.
Hey, Diane, when you print those out again, make them a little bigger than number.
And that is for the consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real property. So we have a motion by Harry,
Second.
We have a second by Ms. McGibbon. Roll call vote, Ms. Plansky?
Mr. Croto,
Aye.
Ms. McGibbon,
Aye.
Mr. French, Mr. Chair,
Aye.
Diane is an aye.
Aye.
Aye from Henry Mazigian.
Aye.
Carried.
Motion passes 700. We are now going into non-public. We will only come out of the non-public to adjourn. So with that, the meeting has ended. Good night, Litchfield.
I have a question for you.